Hello, Author Nation. Another podcast from St. Pete Beach. My previous guest had corrected me on that. And we're here and we're talking with Lula White.
Lula White.
Yeah.
Yes, hey, everybody. Good day to you. Wish you were here with us because it's so pretty. I'm staring at the clouds right now. This would totally be in one of my romance novels.
Well,
Yeah.
and you know what? We'll check later. If you go out here, you might be able to see the manatees.
Oh, y'all have manatees over
Yesterday
here?
they were out there.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah. See, it says on the door where the manatees play.
What? Oh.
Right above the...
Huh. So yeah, you do have like the bougie spot over here.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to make sure we had a nice place for you to come.
And I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Lula White is now officially a NINC member.
Yes, Lula White is. I couldn't believe it when I was trying, making the math,
Mm-hmm.
and some really cool women a couple of years ago in a writing group. We were going over what the qualifications were for NINC, and it really is a fantastic moment when you realize how successful you've become after years of having done this,
Mm-hmm.
and hoping that something will take off and something finally takes off and you finally realize that you're getting it right. It's really sweet. So it's sweet to be here. It's my first time being at NINC for for my readers. NINC is Novelist Inc. And it's one of those groups where you really have to cut your teeth as an author and show that you are capable of putting out marketable and commercial books that that do well and that perform and you can pay the bills with, and that's been really great, and it was a moment of pride, and I'm wishing that for all the authors who are still trying to get it, because I know how challenging it is.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that challenge.
Uh-oh. Yep.
Hop in the Wayback Machine and go back. And when did you get started? And
So my real name is Shannon Humphrey, and that's in my bio. I've started putting it in my bio because it's not a secret anymore. So Shannon Humphrey has, I think, 28, 29 books, is knocking on 30. Out. She first started publishing, like I'm in third person. I first started publishing in the sci-fi and fantasy, dystopian, apocalyptic arena back in 2013. A black girl in the South who was connected to outer space, and it did okay. It did okay. But not only is science fiction a hard sell, it's particularly hard when you're doing it as a person of color, because you really, really have to roll up your sleeves and find your audience. And I did that for a few years. I still love sci-fi. I still love action adventure. I still love The Dark Knight and Christopher Nolan and Marvel and DC. And my husband and I, we love watching those movies and it's Iron Man, and we always did go back and forth about who's better, Iron Man, a Batman, a Superman. So I really wove all that into my earlier books of, just badasses on, I would take that and take my love for them that I've had since I was a kid, put them in my books. And I was writing dystopian and apocalyptic in 2020. And then I was writing a pandemic. I was, because I had read a report that said that disease fiction. It was Alice Newton, one of his reports, and I said, okay, I can try for disease. That's something I'd be interested in. And because I really am a nerd for real, I was in communication with the Centers for Disease Control at the time, so that I was running my premise by one of their scientists, and they were explaining to me how it was plausible and how to make so I really was into writing sci-fi and an action thriller and blending it all together. And then a pandemic really did happen, and that kind of changes the vibe when you really do see it happening in real time. It's not fun. And now, I think some people did well with it for a time, but it could be a real joy kill. And I had quite a few sci-fi writers tell me that they were cheating on the side, that they were traitors, and that they were actually making, really good money writing romance. And it took me some time to come to terms with that because I loved sci-fi so much at the time. And I said, okay, but you know what? I'll give it a try. And oh my God, I had so much fun writing Brown Sugar this Christmas. The readers have fun reading it. It's witty. It's enemies to lovers. I was laughing. My husband said he's never seen me laugh so much while I was writing a book because, when you're writing dystopian and apocalyptic, you're not doing all that. No. And it gave me all the feels that I didn't know I was gonna, and then when I released it, it made money. I was like, oh, snap. Wow, you're right. I like it, right? Yeah, so there we go. That's how Lula White was born. Yeah.
So how many books out now?
So Lula has, I think, 14 wow. books. I wrote them in 2 years, and I kind of was starting. I didn't want burnout, so I put it on pause for a minute and step back. Yeah, and now she's on the move again, getting ready for the next set of releases.
So you've always been the type of person to do a lot of research.
Yeah.
And, and I'm not just talking about for your books. I'm talking about how to make the business work.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how you've explored different approaches. I know you've been hunting down a few people here and asking questions.
Right. Yeah. Lula White started off in Kindle Unlimited. And that was fun, because Kindle Unlimited readers, they are ride or die. They leave reviews, they clap for you, they make you feel good, they stroke your ego. You read their reviews and their excitement, and that really is super cool. That was such a good feeling. And that was the first approach, is just seeing, okay, I can write. They like it. I am capable. I can do this. Because after a while, you've been doing this for so long and nothing pops. You start to wonder, am I as good as my mom says I am? So when things start taking off and you're looking at all these page reads on Kindle Unlimited and you're thinking, man, wow, it's happening. But I was not prepared. It came. I didn't know. I didn't know if it was going to fly or not. I was, so when it did, I wasn't ready for that. I was not ready for how voracious they read. I could keep it up for a time, but over that year and a half that I was trying to put out a book once every 2 or 3 months and have the book be good, I was thinking to myself, okay, how long can I keep this up? I cannot be one of those authors, and I worship them. This is definitely not a criticism, it's admiration. I can't pop out a book a month. I can't, I could if I didn't, I could, but I don't want to. I want to take the time and let it sit and let it simmer in my mind. So that then I went wide last year, and I opened up my own store and started selling books from my website. That was a lot. I didn't know, I didn't know it was going to be the going wide and opening a store, around the same time was going to be as much of a hill to climb as it was, but I'm grateful for it. But that's a different approach.
Well, let me just add, when you say that, what are the things that are going through your head that's like that though? Kindle Unlimited readers, much of romance is in Kindle Unlimited. So you're already making a big move, a big risk when you decide that you're pulling away from Kindle Unlimited and you're spreading yourself over to Barnes and Noble and Kobo and Google Play, and you're opening yourself up to more readers. Then you get the emails from the Kindle Unlimited people like, where'd you go though? And then I have my own readers that I got who love me, who are just, they're grandmas, and they're helping raise their grandkids, and they're like, okay, but the budget is this, and I get it, so I really do. I'm not gone forever. I need to step back for a minute and figure out how what is my new approach and strategy going to be without killing myself. And I was starting to go into that killing myself territory. And if I'm going to keep putting out the books for you all that you love and that I feel good writing, I can't be in killing myself territory. That's what comes up when I think, okay, Amazon or going wide and opening up my own store. Is this risky? That's what comes up in my mind. It's risky either way. So which risk do I want? And I decided I really want the freedom and the liberation of building a wide audience. And when I say wide, for people my listeners who may not know what that means, is I'm going to be for everybody across all retailers across the board. And then for my people who are going to support me on my store and come through for me in my neighborhood, in my territory, my Patreon, we gonna have fun there as well. And I got y'all too, for rocking with me, and I really appreciate the people who rock with me.
Yeah, well, I saw your eyes light up a little bit there, because the other thing that does, like, there's a lot of work in setting up your own store, doing Patreon, setting up subscription, but what you now have is you have a way to manage the experience.
Yeah.
You get to really decide what it's going to be like.
I'm so excited about that.
So
I'm
talk
so
about
excited about that. So I'm trying to have those the rewards, the discounts, the loyalty, things that you cannot do for people on Amazon. Like if you I have some people who came over to my Patreon, and my readers wanted the Facebook reader group. I didn't want the Facebook. I'm like, no, you're making more work for me. But for those people who they want they want a personal relationship with you. They read every newsletter, like, okay, when is the next thing coming? They click on, I can drop an excerpt and they're going to go read it immediately. That is a really good feeling. Okay, so for those people, I'm going to give you some loyalty. If you buy from me directly and you buy everything in advance, I'm going to give you some discounts, and so I've started Cameron Snow's class because I know I can do it better. I put up the store last year. I put up the Shopify store, and I threw all my products, but I know that I'm supposed to do it smarter than that. So, okay, Cameron Snow, I'm going to optimize my website. I'm going to lay it out nice and pretty so that when you come over and look at it, everything, your paperbacks and ebooks, and, if you want this book, then you can have 4 or 5 of them. You can have the whole series. And if you're on my newsletter, you can get a discount. You can't do that on Amazon. You don't have that kind of freedom on Amazon, and not just Amazon. I'm not speaking on any retailer. You're not going to have so much freedom. The retailer has they know who my followers are on, I don't know the names of my followers on Author Central, Amazon. I don't know who my followers are on Apple or Barnes & Noble since I went wide. I don't like that. My former bosses, back when I was practicing law, I had the executive director, I left my job, went somewhere else, and then came back, and he said, you don't like authority, and that's why you're coming back, because you know that I know you, and I'll let you do, not let me do whatever, but he understands me and I understand him, and he's going to let me run my show,
Yeah.
And that's what I need. That I need to be able to run my own show, and that's what having my own platform. Is it more work? Absolutely. Is it like not as easy as simply uploading it to KU? Absolutely. It is way more work. Sometimes the store just has to sit while I go write. But when I'm done with that book, I got to come over here and make some time and set aside 2 or 3 weeks, or
I got to do it at night or before I start writing, maybe once or twice a week, a few hours at a time. Set up chunks and dedicate myself to this because it's my stuff now, and I got to do this for me now.
Yeah, I think when people go down this road, like the worst possible thing is you just rip all your stuff out of KU and start throwing it up there, and so now you've like hurt this one revenue stream, and you don't even have this other one set up yet.
Yep.
And now with being involved in organizations like Author Nation, where you can come and hear people talk through these issues and say, hey, I'm not giving up on KU. I'm just doing KU at a different time. Like when I've squeezed all the juice out of this lemon, I know I can squeeze a little bit more out over here.
Yeah.
But what I want to do is I want to build an audience of my fans that where there's no friction. It's me and them, and a stripe fee, and
right,
and then we can do cool stuff together, right? Like. Somewhere over there's some swag and stuff that Franklin Horton left here, stickers, and bottle opener and stuff, and stuff that he's made that relates to his stories that he's done for fans, and a lot of that it was just like, oh, people have asked for this or that. Well, now it's if you go back to that podcast, you'll hear him talk about like it's a couple $1,000s a month now of that, and that's people wanting to bring your story world into their life. Like nobody needs another coffee cup.
Right. Right.
Why would they buy a coffee cup for you? It's because they want to remember while they're drinking coffee in their cubicle about the world you built.
But see, in their cubicle, they can have some of my house slippers. They can have my house slippers. They can or when you're hanging out on the beach with your friends and you do a book vacay and you're telling your friends about a Lula White book, you can hold up your young and luxurious champagne flute that came in your book box and say, see, this is what she's about. She's about us loving on ourselves, pampering ourselves, being bougie, being proud to be bougie, being proud. You like nice things, okay? Don't let nobody shame you into feeling bad because you like nice stuff. Yeah. You like traveling. You like living large, and that's okay. You have permission.
You've earned
in
it.
My books, right? You work hard. I'm Lula White is giving you permission. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool because you can build that into every aspect of it, and then it builds trust so much faster because it you can't tell that message on some of these other platforms. Like first off, they give you like 2 lines, right? If you wanted to just do a manifesto, a bougie manifesto, you could.
Yes, a bougie manifesto. Bougie black folks in the Hamptons having damn good sex.
Yeah. And then. Then you can do cool stuff like you were talking about some of the things with like loyalty and that. And, I've said to a couple authors, like, if you set up a bunch of swag in your store, like your slippers, and you never sold any of that, but by selling books, your readers earned enough points to get those slippers.
Right.
That's some of the best investment you could make.
Right. And I'm building that. I'm slowly building that out right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes time, right?
Yes.
And I actually had Damon here earlier today, and we were talking about his, some of the stuff that he's observed as the owner of BookFunnel, direct sales and mistakes that people make, and he really got into the whole idea of how once you start doing this, you recognize that you don't need as many fans, right? Like if you figure out whatever it is that you're making per book direct, how many KU page reads do you need to get that? And that's the part when you, at least what I've observed is that when you get that, it's like, okay, that's who I'm looking for. Like I want people that are really, really willing to get that experience they want to have. They're willing to pay for it. Like what we're doing with with Author Nation for Rave, you're gonna laugh. I was arguing with a person here.
You don't like to argue, Joe. I'm so surprised.
They didn't see the value in me finding a reader that was willing to pay $500 for a ticket to the show. Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. But what is that writer or that reader gonna do when they come to that event if they drop $500 on the ticket? Mm-hmm. Like, you don't know, they could have flown there in their jet.
Right.
Right.
Because they want to see whoever it is that they want to see. I'm originally from Arkansas, and I remember when I was 22, I couldn't get out of Arkansas fast enough. I couldn't get out of the South fast enough. I'm going to go be a big star. First it was DC, and I worked on Capitol Hill. I worked for a congressman. I was the scheduler and the legislative correspondent. And then I went to law school. I went back home to Arkansas and went and got on a scholarship. And then 2 days after I graduated law school, I was like, nope, not staying. Don't even think about it, mama. and I bolted for LA because I was determined. I had always wanted to live in the big city my whole life. That's where the sexy people are, but now here we are almost 20 years, later. Next year it'll be my 20th anniversary of living out in LA. And it's different now. And Savannah brought that home. Just every single morning, because I was there for 4 days for a ReaderCon. And every single morning I would wake up and go, and my plan would be to go. I was going to go downstairs and sit on the river and write. And I would go with my laptop, and I would not open it. I just sit there and watch the big ships passing by, and listen to the quiet and watch the beautiful sunrise. And I have such a different appreciation for the South now than I did then as this kid with stars in her eyes. And that's what Savannah, very, very peaceful. Everybody was really nice. I squeezed in a bit of sightseeing and had some really good food.
Oh, the food's amazing.
Oh my God, spanky. Like I went there, walked down that little, boardwalk that they have down there, but it was amazing. And, I told my husband, we're going to have to come back. No, I'm going to have to do a Southern tour.
Yeah.
South Carolina, Savannah, Florida, and just and take some time and take a few weeks to just tour the South.
Yeah, did you get into Forsyth Park and hang out there?
No, it doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah. So it's my son's there for school, so every time there's this restaurant called Collins Quarter. It's in the park. Go there for breakfast. It's you got to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wait, is that the park where they have all it's a lane, and then there are these great restaurants and shops and stuff on the side? Not the one that's on the river.
It's not on the river.
Not on the river, but it's the other. It's down that main street, but coming up to the Savannah. I stayed at the Savannah Riverfront Marriott.
Okay.
Right, and there's a street that. I wish I knew what the name of I could remember. Okay.
No, it's more so when we go there, we always do an Airbnb because it's adds another layer, because now you're in this house that may have been built in the 1860s. It's a little wonky, but it's cool.
I should laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's it for us. It's part of the getting the flavor, and then those neighborhoods, they all have those squares, so there's always great places to walk. Yeah. But we're not here to be a Savannah tour guide. We're here to. I wanted to get to the show, and I think was that your first live event?
No.
No.
No, it was not my first live event. I am still somewhat new. It was probably my fourth live event, because I spent the summer doing live events and trying to see if that's my thing. I like it. Okay. It takes some getting used to being face to face with readers like that and opening up and now we really are, trying to avoid awkward moments and stuff, like things that you don't really have to worry about when y'all are just on Facebook and you're like, oh yeah, thank you so much, okay, talk to you later. But that's part of what inspires my writing, because I'm writing about these wealthy people in these different locations in my books. And it's not just vacay romance. Like, they are people who go through things, and they've got kids, they're going through divorces, that they are real people with real stuff going on and highs and lows, but they also have to go handle a business deal in some place like New York or in LA or in Italy, and they may have a fight before they leave, and so now the trip has been compromised in some way. And so when I go to different places like St. Pete Beach and all that, that helps, that gives me more context, because and it gives me more material to work with, because
Yeah.
all cultures are different. For like the sand is white here, whereas the sand in LA and Southern California is more of a tannish, light brownish. It's darker, And I was looking at the sand this morning when I was out on the beach, and so not every beach is not all beaches are created equally.
Yeah. So where are you, like, now that you've kind of made some changes?
Yeah.
What's your strategy and how you're doing things now that you're wide? What's kind of the cadence of your book output and how you're going to be launching?
Starting over, basically,
Okay.
which that was risky, but it's a risk I'm willing to take. I got a lot of faith in myself, and I kind of have a nose for, I sit back and I observe and see what's going on TikTok, what's going on Instagram, what's the temperature, what's happening in the world, and then and I do this as I'm already creating. And so I'm super excited, because I'm dipping into historical with these next few releases, and I am gonna make my first attempt at a wide release. I've never released wide before. I have it's always been Kindle Unlimited releases. A lot of my releases have been Amazon focused, and that was becoming a burden. So now releasing direct first and then wide, and then later on after that, putting some things into Kindle Unlimited. Maybe some of my books probably will never go to I'm going to probably have some short reads that will only stay on my store. They will only be available on my store, and those books are going to be so good that and I am blessed in that my writing has really taken me far throughout my career. So I know how to write a book and how to sell it and pitch it and create the buzz around it, that I'm gonna make you come over here and look. And if you tell me no right now, I'm gonna make you feel really bad about that no as you walk away from me. Yeah.
Well, I think that the cool, like, once you finally make that leap and you go to direct, you're in a situation where, like, you feel like you're starting over, yes. Yeah. But in some respects, that isn't just because you did that. It's because you've decided you're looking for a different type of customer.
Yes.
Right. And when you do that, you need to have a different approach to bringing them in. Right. And with what I've been working on with our marketing team, with doing advertising and bringing in readers to the event, right? Like that, I believe that. Readers, a certain portion of readers that really, really love to read or listen to books. I don't want to just limit it to people that are reading. They're looking to have a much deeper connection with the brand.
Yeah.
They want to feel like they're going on these places. And the only thing that's really limiting is your imagination, right? Because there's nothing to say that over time you couldn't get to the point where you were running, Lula White cruises, where like you guys are going on, celebrity cruises and stuff.
Yeah.
That's all possible when you start to say, well, that's what I'm looking for. If you say, well, I want to do that, but I'm going to go hit a mailing list of people that I developed on Kindle Unlimited where they're going to talk about, well, I don't know who's going to watch my 9 cats, and I'm on a fixed income, and I don't like to travel. It's opposed to like, no, I'm really trying to focus on this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Does it cost more? Yes. Does it take longer?
Yep.
Yes. But when you can sell them something that gets you much higher margin, then it works out. And we've proven that. I mean, we can show you the data where over time, if you can build trust and nurture someone in their email, or if you decide you're going to do it with SMS, however but you have to have that personal connection, so you keep going back and not spam them and be like, oh, you got to buy my book, but like, hey, having something that's going to capture their curiosity and make them like, oh, I'm going to open that email again. That was fun.
There was an event, quick story, there was an event I was at in Beverly Hills last year.
Yeah.
And it was a retirement party for one of my law colleagues. And I was talking to some other people, hobnobbing, and they asked me what I do. And I was like, oh, I'm an author. And they were like, really? I said, yeah, I'm a romance author. And they were like, oh, well, where do we find your books? And in some way, I don't know how it came up, but I said, oh, well, in KU, blah, blah, blah. And this person looked at me and she said, what's KU?
Yeah.
I was like, I love you.
Yeah.
Where are your friends? Where are your people?
Yeah.
Well, so
that's because you're when you're so inside this, you think everybody's there. And I've had that experience multiple times where people are like looking at you. Mm-hmm. It's like, what, Kindle Unlimited?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have a Kindle and you get books in a subscription? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What? It's like, oh, okay.
Right?
You read? I love to read.
Right. Yeah. She was an avid reader.
Yeah.
Like she had her people on her, on her read. Like she's just like, oh, I'll go and I'll buy,
Yeah. You don't want to know what this thing is.
Right. No, don't, Yeah. So, and that was like a lesson for me that they're out there. I've just been so, in this little bubble here that,
Yeah. The other thing we were, Damon and I were talking about was these two interesting network effects that are kind of conjoining. One being Shopify, right? Mm-hmm. Shopify is doing things where, like, if I go to your store and it's a Shopify store and they know that, they're going to just say, like, oh, if you want to buy stuff from Lula, just put this 4-digit code in and we'll start the oh, yeah, all right, right. Like, and so there's that trust and security and speed of transaction. But then on the back end, when all those books get delivered and they land in the book funnel app, then the readers has this other trusted place where all your books are and they can see all so the things that used to be the advantages that certain platforms had around it's easy to buy, all my stuff is in one place, those obstacles are going away.
Yeah.
And it's only a matter of time where, especially people that are big readers that are tapping into the indie market, they're just, oh yeah, I buy on Shopify and then all my stuff ends up in BookFunnel and I just listen to it there.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to, make this go a lot faster in the next few years.
And you're right, because I don't know if it does it on your phone, but on my phone on Google, when you go to the Google page, because that's my default page still, and Google has suggested articles underneath the Google.
Yep.
And sometimes I'll scroll and I'll read them, and there was a suggested article the other day from Yahoo that one of the best stock investments that you can invest in right now is Shopify. You know what? And I think I almost sent it to you. I probably should have, but they gave the reasons why Shopify is a really hot stock investment, and one of them is it's a platform where they don't really, they provide the nuts and bolts. Like, they provide the community, the space, and all the retailers come in and do all the work. They do all the building. We do all we bring the engine and the gas, and they put like the very fundamental thing out there to build the car with, and then we come with everything else. And so it's a win, because and you got all these high profile, you got some of the biggest companies in the world, building their store, putting their stores up on Shopify. So it's happening. It's the e-commerce thing, and it's happening right there. It's like a Facebook, but for retailers. So yeah.
Well, and as Amazon has shifted away, and this is more, we're talking products per se, not just the books, but they shift away from being like a purveyor of products to like, we're just a marketplace, and all this, brands come in that are just junk, and I've literally had stuff I bought from Amazon. It was a lamp, and like it started on fire. And then when I went to find that to like put a 1-star review on it, not only the whole product, the whole brand was gone, yet it had popped up again.
Yeah.
And there was other people already going, I think these were the guys that sold me the lamp that melted.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that Shopify almost has a kind of a natural defense against, because as long as they stay focused on like, hey, we're here to make sure the transaction is safe.
Yeah.
We're here to, we're managing the money.
Yeah.
And making it easy for you to buy. But like, if you like this retailer, it's going to be a lot. You're going to understand how the transaction is going to work, and that long term helps build that trust. So we'll see. I've you've known me a while. I've always been a proponent for direct sales, and I think that more and more readers are looking for ownership of your story world, right? And the more they can maybe own the slippers or a limited edition box set or that kind of stuff, that becomes a way for you to really get a return on investment and all that hard work you're doing now.
Yeah. And that's why I'm okay with the risk that I have assumed. It's hard. It hasn't been easy. There was a big income drop, but I was also noticing that the income had started dropping on Amazon anyway, which the income has been dropping on Amazon. One, because the KU payout rate has been going down, but also I just noticed that as I slowed down with my release schedule, everybody runs through your books, and once they've run through all your books, if there's nothing else for them to read, you got to start looking for more customers and more readers in new places. And so the hard work is going to have to happen one way or another. I want it built in for the long term, which is going to require, long-term planning, long-term investment. And I don't want it to be long-term investing in more of Amazon taking a cut of my money, and me having to feel like I have a boss and I have a job all over again, and you can take it away from me whenever you feel like it, which that is an increasing problem.
Yeah. Well, and if for some reason Shopify should blow up or whatever,
I'll still have those emails, and we'll still be together. Yeah.
Or if some new interesting way comes to do something, you can say, hey guys,
pack it up and
over here.
And I think that may be what I do with Patreon, because I did that whole 30% Apple iOS, perfect example. I'm not sure that the iOS 30% charge that iOS is requiring everybody to do the 30%. They're going to take a chunk of 30%, which means Patreon is going to pass it on to me, which means I'm going to have to pass it on to my readers, and I don't want to do that. I think that as we've talked about it a million times on this podcast, it's all these companies, they can build these networks, but what they don't have is the content, right? And there's it doesn't matter which one you're talking about, because the content we're talking about where that you write and they want to take a 30% cut, or
on Instagram, if you're putting stuff up there, you're paying with an even more valuable resource, your time, what you're writing and posting and doing all that stuff.
Right. So I'm currently looking into running the subscription, which I was already thinking about that anyway. I was already feeling a way about, Patreon was great back in the day before direct sales became a thing, but now that there are more apps and there are more options on Shopify, and that's increasing all the time, we don't have to, Patreon's not it doesn't have to be the only game in town the way it was. But I don't know if you were I don't know if you were in Scotland a few years ago when I first ever heard about Patreon. And I was like, oh, wow, that sounds interesting. I'll get into. Back then, a handful of people may have been doing direct sales, but not many people. But we have more options now, so I don't necessarily have to run it through Patreon.
No. I mean, there's tools out there for you to do your own subscription service, and there's authors that have that are doing that. And one of the things we caught a little flack with at Author Nation was the fact that we built an off Facebook community. It would have been a lot easier for us to do it on Facebook. We would have probably had 5,000 followers at this point.
But when I'm talking to people about that, I say, but you know what? I get it. I get the desire to have your own thing, and I know that there are all these different places that we have to go now, but when you're really where you have to go now, but if you really care about something and if it means a lot to you, you'll make the time to go over there.
Well, and that's my responsibility, right? To make it worth your time.
So that,
But
value added.
Yeah, and also just philosophically, it's like if we're saying, hey, you should go do this stuff, you should make your own digital homestead, it'd be kind of hypocritical to not do it
if you didn't have one. Yeah, and it's smart.
So it worked. It took time, and like I said, it's building slower. There's some things that people are looking for that they get on other platforms we can't do. Maybe someday we'll change. I don't know. The idea for us is our end objective, just being real about it, is we want to get you to go buy a ticket and come to Las Vegas and get the live experience, right?
Yeah.
But if that means hanging out in that community for a couple years while you're kind of lurking and figuring this out, and then maybe you buy a digital ticket and communicate with the people in your region and start connecting with them, and eventually we get you there, right? But
which is like getting a sale.
Yeah, it is.
So,
right. Yeah. If it's our brain that's where it's like, well, I have this time frame that I think you should read all my books. But if I said to you, Lula White is going to, whenever she gets a customer, they're going to read all of her books. But some of those people may take 10 years to do that.
Right. And I have books that I bought, like physical copies of books that I've bought over the last couple of years, because I know I want to read you at some point. But right now I'm not in my fiction bag. Right now I'm in my personal development. I read Joe Solari's Advantage. It's Advantage something, because it's been like I think a little over a year. I read it last year or something like that, and then I told other people about it, and he didn't ask me to pitch his book. He didn't, but I really found it like it's not like I didn't already know this stuff. It's a great way to see, it's a great thing to see it all pulled together so well, in those examples, like you did Einstein, and the difference, why we know Einstein so well, but we don't know other people as well. And there's actually publicists behind some of the, and I was just like, dude, could you believe, really? And
same
me and
one that is Steve McQueen, and
me and some other author, these people are deceased, but they still got publicists. And so and I got the point, like, you actually do have to push yourself, and they're not just famous because Einstein was really smart, but
Well, and also the one of the bigger points with that is that the Einstein that is in your head is a fictional character. He's made up. It's all your associations that you have, right?
I remember that.
So why can't you do that with your book character? Why? right? It's the same. It may, there's some other things involved in that, of course, but But the reality is that.
But somebody had to build that. He's not just Einstein. It's not natural. That's not organic. And I think that blew it blew my mind.
Yeah. And it's like and if you go to that at the Green Light Industries, it was called. You go there and you see it. They explain it to you. He's the quirky professor. He's the, quirky genius. That and the pictures they picked. And why are they doing this? Well, he bequeathed his entire estate to, I think, the Tel Aviv University. So they're paying to keep all that stuff going.
Yeah, because it's money. It's money. Yeah, and whenever you use his name or lasers or anything, that's money.
Yeah,
and I understood and I loved it. It resonated with me. So I forgot where I was going with that, but
go there. We'll figure it out.
But it was. That was
you were talking about your personal development versus your fiction bag.
That's where. Thank you. That's where I've been. That's where I've lived for the past year and a half. Is when I do bring it all back again, but wide, in my own way with my store, and then I'm here at NINC and I'm pulling all these presentations together, that and Joe Solari's book and Gay Hendricks' book The Big Leap, and not being too scared to promote myself and be my brand and show up and loop it all together. That's been what bag I'm in for the past maybe year to year and a half, is the next time I want to do it for real, and what pieces do I need to put in place for it to work and sell myself. But when I do get back into the fiction bag, I've got all these great physical copies of books there that I paid full price for and have not read yet. To your point that you were making. I've strayed way away.
No, but that
I bring it all back.
We got there. We took the long way, but we got back home. Yeah. And the bigger kind of where with what our mutual point on that is that not putting our constraints on the reader.
The readers.
They'll read that book. They'll, you'll get. Maybe not all of those, but one of those you'll read. And you'll go, I think I'll read the rest of the series, right?
Yeah.
But of course, us on the other side of that, we're like, "Did you read my book? Did you read my book? There's a second book. There's a third book,
right? Right.
Yeah, and it's like, we don't listen or read a lot. I mean, except when we go on these long drives, we'll go through, a bunch, maybe two.
Nice.
Like we drive down. It's a 15-hour drive from Chicago down to Savannah. That's a lot of audiobooks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's got to look really weird in somebody's chart where it's like in Audible's chart, or we don't buy it. I buy on iBooks, but goes along and then. Boom, they're reading, and then nothing for a while.
Yeah.
But that's our behavior, right? Yeah. And it's like I'm gonna buy all of Franklin's Mad Mick books.
Yeah.
I think we're almost getting towards the end of the series, but it's just that's how it's going to be listened to. And my behavior's not going to change.
I noticed that with now that is one cool thing about KU and then Miller Lite and watching reader behavior, because I'll notice. They'll read books 1 and 2, and then later on, I'll see them clicking on the links for it, not until later, and they're seasonal readers. They'll read at home over Christmas, and then nothing, and then summertime there'll be a burst, and then nothing again for, and that was the learning process for me for a while, because I thought, oh, y'all love me, y'all are reading everything right in one sitting, and even if they do love me, they may not have the time, or there may be some other authors they want to try to squeeze into their Christmas vacation, and then the next go around over summertime, and they'll also put it in their reviews. I read book 1, but then I had to go on a trip or a business trip or whatever, or deal with the kids, and so I couldn't get to book 2 or book 3 until it. So, there was a lot of learning, because my feelings were kind of hurt at first. Like, I thought you said you love me.
Yeah.
You only read books 1 and 2. What about 3, 4, and 5? Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been great having you on. Why don't you tell folks where they can get bougie with you?
So LulaWhiteBooks.com is where you can buy, you of course, is where you can buy from me and check out the store that I plead. Grace is what I'm asking for, because I'm going through a course to show that to set it up prettier. Can you buy books there? Yes, you can. Can you buy bundles there? Yes, you can. But it's going through a prettifying process right now. So LulaWhiteBooks.com. My books are on all retailers. There's 14 of them. 2 fully completed series. Some of them are holiday specific books. So I know we're coming up on that time where, you know, it's about to be Christmas. So I got brown sugar this Christmas, hot chocolate this winter, all those corny, cheesy, you know, Christmassy holiday names waiting on you. They are steamy. They are open book. I'm not doing clean and wholesome. But so if you're into that, then do come over and check me out.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Next, you can go hit the beach and enjoy the sun.
Right. Yes.
All right.
I'm excited, and so can you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although you got a nice tan going on over there, so it looks like you've been doing some of that already.
On it.
Yeah.
Susan and I have been working on our tans. Well, we'll see you in Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
All right.
And y'all take care.
Bye.